Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to an interesting new video here in Moscow. Now, based on a previous video I did at a Russian flea market, I've come to another one, and we're going to go and check it out together. The place that I've come to is called Lefty, and that's actually describing it in English. If anybody knows this particular flea market, it's in the northwest of Moscow. It's a couple of stations from Khimki railway station, and it's right by a stop. And this is an outdoor flea market that's been here for a lot of years. Now, the only thing today is we've got beautiful blue skies in this direction, and then if I turn around, we've got very dark clouds in this direction. So hopefully the weather's going to hold up for this little walk around. I actually got here about 15 minutes ago, and the minute I stepped off the train it was bucketing down with rain, and now it's almost blue skies. So hopefully I can get this video filmed. This is about 2.5 hours from my house by bus, train, 2 metros and another train. So I don't really want to come back tomorrow to try to film it a second time. What's really interesting with this place, although it's been here a lot of years, is anybody can literally turn up on a market day and you pay 100 rubles, or pretty much $1 thereabouts, and you can get a space here. So anybody can come and sell on any of the market days completely without any problems at all. And have a look at the blue skies now. I do want to know why it's called Lefty, and I wonder if it's because it's on the left-hand side of the train station line. I'm not sure. Please, if you know this place and you're maybe from Moscow or somewhere nearby, let me know in the comments. What I'll do is I'll go for a walk around some of the different lanes and aisles. There is quite a lot to cover at this place. Now, because of the weather, there's perhaps less people here than normal. Maybe I need a 24-hour sign for something. Where would that possibly have come from? So there is these permanent stands set up, which I would imagine these are regular sellers. And then there's quite a lot of temporary sellers. This stand has got CDs and music and records as well. I wonder if some of them are from the Prelivka record factory. That would be pretty neat if there are some from there. So these different stands have lots of very cool memorabilia and collections, maybe some coins. There's actually an old record player right there.
Hi.
Hello. Now, I'll try to show things that are interesting, and at the same time, this is really a very classic flea market with lots of trash and treasure, as somebody told me in another video's comments, that not everything is to their liking. And I can understand that. These are really very much a flea market at heart. Then you could definitely find some pieces of Soviet memorabilia or things that maybe date back to the USSR times. And hopefully I can get through the walk around without a weather interruption. Now, there is quite a lot of plastic on all the different tables here because the weather about half an hour ago was absolutely miserable, and now it's cleared up and it's beautiful. And there's so many very interesting different things. All of these perfume bottles and glassware. Super interesting. Have a look at all of the china. Now, does everybody call it China? Because perhaps that's where it's from. And I think maybe in Russia It's probably not from China, funny enough. Have a look at all these teapots up here. This is super neat. Maybe you're just missing one saucer. You can maybe find it right here. You'd actually send an email to the administration for this market to ask, can I come and film here? The last time I did one over at Soltykovskaya market, it really wasn't a problem and people were very nice and inviting. And I'm not too sure about this place just yet because I've just briefly walked around between the rain. As you walk a little bit further in, there's then this big open part with all of these metal tables. So when you pay 100 rubles, you get yourself one space. I think it's around about a meter or so. And you'll see today, of course, there isn't as many people because of the rain. And I think a few people ran away a little bit earlier too. And some of them are putting their goods back out. So this is really interesting. The actual full-time sellers have got the stalls here with the little awnings, lots of kids' toys and clothes. And really most things here aren't very expensive. And this is why people love flea markets in Russia, because there's just something about coming to one and having a dig through everything. I didn't walk all the way to the back when I first came in. So I didn't realize how big it was and how many things there are. Some kids' toys. And then the lady right here. Such a mixture of things when you have a look at some of the stands. And this is really very typical of Russian flea markets. I wish I would have come a few weeks earlier than I did now, because imagine this completely full in summertime. It really is a big mixture of things when you come for a look around and then come to some of the stands. You can get maybe some rocks or some shot glasses, and then maybe some clothes of some type. There's a stand here with some luggage. There's really so many different things. This is why I love flea markets. In Australia, I would go to them on the weekends as well. Big trophy here. I'm not too sure. Still got one of the ribbons. Actually, that's a medal right there as well. And then maybe we need a globe. Such a mix of things. Chainsaw. And then a rabbit. And so many different things. And such a big mix of things when you come to some of the stands that you've almost got to ask when you want something. Lots of tools at this stand. Saw blades, some shoes. This is a very big market. If I compare it to Soltykovskaya market, this is probably twice as big, maybe 3 times as big. It's a bit hard to judge because not every stand is open. Let's see what else we can find. I just noticed there's another music seller, or at least a reseller, and they've got music playing, which is a little bit awkward, but they've actually got DVDs here and even some car stereos. I don't see any of the brand names on them, so I wonder where they might have come from. And they've got all the music here by genres, which is really very neat. And some of the leaders of the world on the pictures at the back. Maybe some musicians at the same time. Very cool. Some of the stands do actually have prices on things. But most things you just have to ask, and then they'll let you know how much something will be. Hello? So there's such a mix of items. Now, my goal of coming here was really to document this place. Maybe somebody needs a wedding dress, Now there's definitely lots of clothes sellers. Now what we're a little bit worried about are those clouds right there. And can we get around the market without getting drenched a second time? So there is some small stands with different items, maybe some plants, perhaps a vacuum cleaner. It's really mixes of things. Very interesting. I'm very curious. From my last video, it got so many views, and it didn't get views initially on the channel. It took maybe a month or so for it to gain more views, and it's very interesting the reason why flea market videos might do so well and then other videos don't. Now I wish it was full and there was people everywhere and I could really prove the flea market works here in Russia. If I wanted to spend 100 rubles, I can have a space right here. I think all of this open area is for the casual sellers. And then in between, there's some of the full-time resellers. Maybe an ice hockey game. Maybe some knives and forks. It's interesting what brings everybody to a flea market and what everybody's looking for. There's a stand over here with perfumes and cosmetics, lipsticks. Maybe I need a Mentos chapstick and all sorts of little odds and ends. All these tester bottles. I always wonder where all these things come from and how they make their way to these markets, because not everything is overly practical. But there's all sorts of new and old things at the same time. And then you've got setups like this. How long would it take to put all these things out on the tables? It would take hours. All this crystal. Wow. This is very cool. So many set up here. This guy must have to come at 2 or 3 in the morning to prepare his stand. And lots of things that are really just flea market items. But then you get these vases and glassware, and it's just fascinating. Maybe you want something new or something to replace something. As you walk around, you go from seeing beautiful crystal, and then there's a stand here with some electronics and some surveillance cameras, it looks like, and all sorts of older electronics and things that perhaps work or perhaps don't. And that's the fun of the flea market, I think, trying to find something hidden away. And then you come to somebody with crazy big washing powder bottles. Now, these would be very awkward to carry home on the train if I needed to get one, but it's so interesting. Each stand as you walk around, maybe some boots or a bike. Gentleman back here's got some belts as well, and then an old jerry can. It's a mix of very old Russian things and then some of the modern Western things that have made their way to Russia. And just stand after stand of items. Very nice to see. The video that I set out to make was really to come here and see this place myself. I keep hearing about different flea markets around Moscow, and the intention of the video is not to show prices of something or something's bad, something's good. It's really to give you an idea of what life is like in Moscow, and the fact that you don't have to go too far from the center of Moscow to visit a place like this. I'm really hoping the rain will hold off on me and I can make the video and get some shelter. 50 rubles. There's boxes for 50 cents. And this is what I'm a little bit worried about. It's not really a problem. And it looks like a lot of the people that come here on a weekly basis aren't so bothered either, because it's expected in this summertime. Perhaps some old tools. And so many just interesting things that even I've never seen before. Maybe other people coming here haven't seen. Have a look at this clock. How cool is that? I wonder if that's from a building or some sort of fabrication plant maybe. And a bit of everything, really and truly. And lots of people doing just like me, walking around and trying to find something hidden amongst other things. Perhaps I've not lived in Russia long enough to be able to recognize some treasure from the trash, as famously put. A lot of the people back here look like the full-time sellers. They've got garages where they can pack everything up into, and then they can head on home. It's just a bit of everything, and it's hard to grasp what you're looking at. Some bottle stoppers from perfume bottles right there. That's pretty cool. And then just buckets of things for 10 rubles each. So 10 cents per item. Right in the back corner here, there's some furniture as well. I'm not too sure what this is. Maybe it's a turbine or a wheel of some kind. Okay, so after a brief rain intermission from those dark clouds, we've now got a little bit of blue sky, and hopefully I can get a little bit more of a walk around. I plan to come here for the whole week, and I know it's only on the weekends that this place is in operation, so I really had to come today and to see what was on offer and maybe find something, I don't know. The thing is now everywhere is covered up, and I think the real hardened sellers are the ones that are staying here, and quite a lot of the casual ones have perhaps headed on home. Hopefully we can find something interesting to look at. If anybody follows my day-to-day life on Telegram, we're having quite a few problems with our bathroom at the moment and things leaking, and we've had different plumbers come. Maybe I needed to come here and find myself some supplies. Even the shop that I went to find some replacement parts, they hadn't seen the particular fittings that I had. It really goes from one stand to the other, and such a difference in items. You can get an alligator, maybe one statue, or some glassware. It's really so interesting, all the different things. Maybe I need a small cannon or a fluffy horse. As I'm walking around, what are the chances of meeting a channel subscriber? Here is Maxim, and between the rain showers I decided to come into this one here and have a look. and he's got his items to take home. Thank you, Maxim. Thanks for being here in the video. The one thing that's very different with the flea markets here in Russia, if I compare it to Australia, is a lot of these are permanent sellers, and they've got stands where they've got these sheds or garages, and they bring everything out, and then during the week when they're not here, they put everything back away. Whereas most of the flea markets or swap meets in Australia are only temporary sellers. You will get some people that come every week, but they're literally just very basic, like you see. So many things to dig through. Maybe a typewriter. There's some toys and electronics. And maybe, again, to a lot of people, this really is as flea market as you like. That's interesting. There's an English license plate right there. How would that possibly be in Moscow? I'm curious. And then things just keep changing as you walk around. Maybe I might open a restaurant. I need some pans. Have a look at these very big soup bowls right there. So we're doing okay with the weather. I've had a few breaks in between, but it's not so bad. As I leave Maxim to walk around, such a nice guy to chat to, and the fact that he recognized me and he knows my videos on the channel. All the way out here at Lefty Market. I'm still very curious why it's called Lefty. There has to be a very good reason. And the fact that it's such a normal English word as well. All of this brass objects. Maybe for a collection. I'm not sure. It's fascinating. Maybe I need an old telephone. Amongst all the raindrops, there's such differences when you walk between the stalls. There's one here with kettles and irons and all sorts of different models and types. I'm fairly sure these are all brand new items. Most things in the back have got boxes. There's also some pots and pans as well. I do feel a little bit bad today for everybody that's got the basic stands because of the weather. But there's still people digging through things looking for something unique. There seems to be quite a few resellers as well where they've got products that are made in Russia. Things like socks and shoe liners and very basic normal things. There's also fishing rods as well. So if we want to go fishing, I just need to follow these guys down to the river. And then more China. I'm going to call it China because that's what I know it as, but it's not from China. A lot of this is from Czechoslovakia, from Germany, from Poland, and then you'll find some things from Russia hiding away inside all of the different shelves. Maybe I need lime green colored items.
Very good.
Or a kettle. Very nice. This is a copper kettle. So many interesting things. Or maybe my wife is gonna be very upset if I bring home a boar's head. It's so interesting walking around, and I've met quite a few subscribers of the channel and people that recognize me from some of the videos. And it's gone from beautiful and sunny to pouring rain and beautiful and sunny again. Such a strange day today here in Moscow. If I didn't have so far to go home, I would perhaps ask my wife if there's something that she might want. And things like cleaning products, of course. You recognize them and are familiar with the brands. And then some of the things, perhaps it's hard to buy and choose something. All of the shoes. And then have a look at all of the perfumes. How cool is this? Different perfumes. Just super interesting. All the different bottles. Wow. I really find some of these stands just fascinating with the amount of stuff that they've got packed into them. And probably this gentleman knows where every single item is if you were to ask for something. These steel clippers here. And there's some electronics, some old cameras as well. Very interesting, and a bit of everything back there. So fascinating to see. And then have a look at this little small stand here with some very old books and literature. I think some of these perhaps very old. And if you want to find some of the original Soviet books, this is the place for sure. I really did wish for it to be a beautiful day today, and then all of these stands would have been a lot fuller. And just imagine the amount of people that would be here if we didn't have these clouds off in the background. No worries though, I think we get a good idea of what Lefty market has to offer. I think whenever you come to these sorts of markets, maybe in your head you've got something that you want to find, something maybe that's to fill your collection, or maybe you just found something that basically you've never seen before. Maybe we need a Washington DC beer tankard, or coins from Thailand. Such a variation of things. A few more records. Wow. Now it's absolutely baked in sunshine. Now I've only been here maybe about 2 hours, and about an hour of it has been hiding from the rain. Have a look at this collection of cutlery and kitchen items. Some of these ladles, very cool. So the thing is, it's a matter of trying to find that balance of trash and treasure as you come to a flea market. I think no matter which country you do go to one, there's going to be something that looks completely useless to one person, but to a collector or to somebody else, this is proper cool. One of the things that I really like and I want to try to collect are these train drinking glasses, and they use them on pretty much all of the Russian railways, and they've got different insignias on them. This is something that I want to collect out of all the things that I see here. And I know maybe you wouldn't use it too often, but as something, as a display, it would be really cool. There's a few more over here. They don't have the glass with them, but they've got the Russian Railways branding on them. I wonder how they were acquired. Lots more cups and saucers. And again, just a mix of things as you walk through. And so many different things on the one stand. How cool. Check out these little toy figurines. I'm pretty sure they're all hand painted as well. That is very neat. And then as I walk around, you'll see the stands that have just got hundreds of things on them, and you don't know what to look at and what things maybe catch your eye. Yes, it just varies so much from one stand to the next. I find this interesting. Some of the stands have a piece of carpet right here and some don't. And now, of course, with the weather today, it's going to take a while for them to dry out, but no worries at all. How interesting. Just look how many things in one stall. So many different items. I was hoping to find some coin or stamp dealers, and I haven't come across any. There's some very old bottles right here. There's plenty of people with very old items, I mean, that's for sure. There's some more records. And there's some different pins here as well. There is a lot of pin dealers that you can find in Russia, and a lot of them have pins that are from during the Olympics, which are very cool to see. And then different periods in Russian history. Some old watches. Just a mix of things. And then it's a matter of separating one thing from the other as you walk around and try to find that needle in a haystack. Is that the right word? I think. Lots of just very interesting small items. Maybe a new light fixture for my apartment. Now, I don't want the video to go on for hours, and I feel like I've been here that long, but because of the weather and the rain, I had to stop a few times and take a little break. And in between rain showers, you can get a good walk around and see some of the stands and what they have. And there's of course some very dedicated sellers here who bring all of their items, and then just a matter of finding something that'll fulfill your collection. There's some more tankards here from the Russian railways, and then of course there's some very classic beer glasses, but these railway ones are just so cool, and I don't think outside of Russia most people have seen these before. And if you take a long distance train, this is how they would serve tea and coffee, or they'd bring one of these for you to use during your journey, and all the different types from different regions. Very cool. This is what I want to collect, I think. And more records. And again, I wonder, especially a lot of the Russian records, if they're from the Aprelivka record factory. One thing that would probably make my walk-arounds more interesting is if somebody knew some of the history of some of these items and where they might have come from. And how is it possible there's a British police hat sitting right there, and how it possibly made its way to Russia. This interesting clock, and then these copper pots. I just seem to have some fascination with coming to these markets now and trying to find different ones throughout Moscow. Now I've no doubt they hold these in all different cities in Russia, but to find them not that far from where I live, I don't have to travel great distances to find things. There's some old cassette players right there, and just the assortment of things. When you go to the swap meets in Australia, there isn't really old things necessarily. Most of it's just people's personal items that they're reselling, and there isn't really the antiques side to it like you get at these sorts of places. Some camp oven pans, and then you see some of these tea services as well. Such a variation of products. All of these kettles, or samovar is the word that they use here in Russia for them. Wow, just very interesting. As I slowly make my way out of Lefty flea market, there's actually these really neat murals that somebody's painted on the side of the building here, and I wonder if it's in reference to the market that's been here for many years. It's got definitely some resemblance to what we've walked around and seen. And there's another one over on this side. Now, flea markets in Russia aren't necessarily beautiful to walk around and come to. They're normally a little bit out of town, or at least nearby a train station. But this is real life in Russia. And as I walk on out and head to the train station, which is only about a 5-minute walk from here, I really hope you've enjoyed this walk around of a Russian flea market, and I hope you saw some interesting things. I definitely met some nice, friendly subscribers to the channel. I met quite a few people who was wondering what I'm doing, and to explain to them that I'm making videos about life in Russia. And it's so nice that people are very open and accepting of me filming in somewhere like this, which really probably doesn't see too many Western English-speaking people come here. This is very much out in the suburbs of Moscow. So I really hope you found it interesting, and maybe let me know in the comments if there's something that you noticed that you might like, or maybe you're a collector of something. Please mention in the comments something that you might have noticed. And as I literally walk towards the train station entrance, the car park's very empty. Now, of course, the weather today, I think a lot of people look ahead what the weather's going to be like. There's some very good applications that we can use on our phone to see even where the next cloud is going to come over us and how it's going to rain. So I think that maybe kept quite a lot of people away today. So yeah, give it a thumbs up if you like the video. And like I mentioned, post some comments. Let me know, do you attend flea markets where you live? Is that even the name that you call it? And I'm still curious about why it's called Lefty. There has to be some reference, even in Russian and English. So let me know if you know the answer to that. If you'd like to join me on Telegram, there's my link to the Telegram channel right here. So try to avoid some puddles. And if you want to watch an old video, I'll put the Novoskhodnenskoye market video on right now. You can check out another flea market in Moscow. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.